Hey, I'm JR, training manager here at Crutchfield, and these are the Memphis PRX series of subwoofers. PRX is Power Reference Series. There's 5 different subs in the series. We have the 10, the 12, and the 15-inch here in this video. There's also a 6.5-inch and an 8-inch available. The coolest thing about the PRX subwoofers is the selectable impedance feature. You'll notice on the back of the subwoofers on one side there's a positive and negative speaker wire terminals, and on the other side is a place to attach some jumpers that are included in the box with the subwoofers. The 2 ohm jumper and the 4 ohm jumper. You have your choice so that you can dial in the impedance of the subwoofer specific to the amplifier you're going to use to power your subwoofer. Sometimes you need your sub to be a 2 ohm impedance to get more power out of your amplifier if you're just using one sub. Or if you're using 2 subs, you might want to use the 4 ohm jumper so that you can wire the subs in parallel and get them down to 2 ohms of impedance. And that's important to be able to do because it's a flexibility thing, it's an upgrade thing. Like if you have one sub, and then you add a second sub, you might change the impedance so that you can wire them together and get the right impedance load for your amplifier. It's a pretty cool feature that Memphis has put on these subs. All 3 of the subs pictured here, the 10, the 12, and the 15, can handle about 300 watts of power. The 6.5 and the 8-inch handle 150 and 200 watts respectively. That's plenty of power. You can really move a lot of air with that. They are designed to work in either a sealed or ported box, so whatever kind of bass you're looking for, you should be able to get with these subs. The cone is a treated paper cone with a polypropylene dust cap. That allows it to sound nice and warm and also last a good long time. The woofer cone is attached to the butyl rubber surround with double stitching so that it won't come apart. It is a well-built, solid subwoofer. On the back, you'll notice there's also the pretty cool Memphis M stamped into the basket. So whether you're looking at the front of the sub or the back of the sub, either way, they look great. Also on the back of the sub, you'll notice there is a removable rubber boot covering the magnet. Looks pretty cool, adds some durability to make sure the back of your sub doesn't get scratched when you're installing it. And you can remove it so that if you're maybe putting your subwoofer in a box with limited depth, you can remove the boot to get a little bit more room. Memphis also built into these subs DVVC, or direct voice coil cooling technology, which pipes air right into the voice coil gap to keep the voice coil nice and cool while it's moving and making bass for you. You don't want it to overheat. This will prevent that. You'll get plenty of deep bass from these subs. The 10-inch is going to go down to 32 hertz, the 12-inch down to 30 hertz, and the 15 all the way down to 28 hertz. And that is pretty deep, pretty solid bass. So you can count on them to rumble. So these are the Memphis Audio PRX, or Power Reference series of subwoofers with selectable impedance. If you have any questions about how all that works, please get in touch with us here at crutchfield.com/contact. On that page, you'll be able to talk live with one of our advisors over the phone or chat with them online. You can also post your questions right here in the comments section on this YouTube video. We do look at that and we will respond accordingly. And as long as you're here, go ahead and like, subscribe, and turn your notifications on so you'll know the next time we put out another video. Thanks for watching.